Hey guys, good morning. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is 5 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I'd like to share with you guys a couple of the messages I've gotten here and on Facebook in the last couple of days. As I've said many times, probably too many times, I had another life about 13 years, 4 months ago. I've been in recovery, but before that, I was a drug user, a drug addict. Uh, I don't like using the word partier because at the end it was no it was no party. Uh, Being a full blown heroin addict, but anyway, back in my 20s and 30s, I would go to the bars and I would go to after hours clubs after in the cities around here, Bridgeport, Hartford, bigger cities. I would go to these places. I'm trying to think of a way to delicately phrase this. They are after hours clubs that are run by motorcycle clubs. I'll call them, otherwise known as motorcycle gangs. Um, I'm sure you've probably heard of a couple of them. I'm not going to mention the names here. Um, some of the people I went to school with, a couple, and other people I met belong to these clubs. They're lifelong members. I won't get into how that all works and everything. I think you guys have a pretty good idea, but that's where I would go and hang out after hours. There would be partying going on there until dawn. So, of course, 13 years ago, I stopped doing this. Now, in my recovery, I've stayed away from these people. Uh, Not that I don't want to say that anybody's bad. It's just these people, I have to avoid triggers, things that would trigger me to use again. And these people, to me, when I see or talk to people, sometimes they can actually be just me seeing them can be a trigger. Not saying they're bad people, but I just need to stay away from them to keep myself clean and sober. All right, that all being said, still, some people tend to find me. People I used to hang out with a lot, they see my stuff on Facebook, here on YouTube, and I've gotten comments from a couple of these individuals. Now, these guys were what you'd consider tough guys. They considered themselves outlaws, outlaw bikers, outlaws in general. That's how they lived. That was their code, um, and they prided themselves on that. It was a brotherhood, and that's fine, but it's not my way of life anymore or at all. But that's their business. The interesting thing is here now. This is the point. They saw my liberal, democratic, anti-Trump stuff that I usually post, and I got ever increasingly angry, violent, threatening comments and messages. And I find, here's the thing, I find it amazing. I see these people that I know. I know them pretty well. Like I said, they're the last people you'd ever imagine to be pro government, pro, I guess, law and order. Um, Talking about saluting the flag and being patriotic. These are not the people, like 15 years ago, that I would have ever imagined it. I mean, they had their family, their club, and basically, I guess, motorcycles, sex, drugs, rock and roll. That was their interest, really. So now I see these same people, and it's just, to me, it seems like such an irony. That these are the people that pride themselves on being anti law, do whatever feels good, do whatever they want. But now they're. I got one message in particular that lectured me. I can't even say most of the stuff that it called me, but that I was pro immigrant. That asked me why I want these people invading America, and that I wasn't patriotic, that I should respect the president. I have no respect for the country. And I flicked on this person's account too. And like I said, this is a hardcore anti-establishment person. and it still looks like they are, like they haven't changed, but they've discovered Trump. And there's more than one of these individuals. We've seen Trump. I'm not saying anything against bikers. These aren't your average bikers. This is more of a way of life, an anti, uh, an outlaw way of life. Just to put, there's no other way to put it. It's an outlaw way of life, making money and living outside the law is basically the the business they're in. Uh, and it's just I find it amazing that it's strange that I see this person, these people that I used to hang out with, their leather, their shaved heads, tattoos all over and everything, and then I see Donald Trump, and it's just I try to figure out how there's a relationship there. And there's only, of course, I think you guys are probably all thinking the same thing I am. There's really only one relationship that I could imagine, and that's white power, white supremacy, which was one of the clubs. I never visited this one club in particular. I don't even want to say the name of it, but it was more of a white supremacy club. And that one I never visited. I just never felt comfortable there, even back in the days when I was using. But this is the only thing that I could figure out that they have in common. It's just I'm stunned when I see these people, the people that I used to hang out with, anti-law, anti-establishment people, supporting the president of the United States. It seems like such a juxtaposition. Um, just an interesting observation that I've made recently. I said no, I'm not disparaging anybody. Just an observation. All right, you guys have a good Saturday.